Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Conversation Collage. What do we do here, you might ask, if you have stumbled upon us for the first time? Well, we talk with interesting people. We talk about the things they're interested in. We try and keep it light and friendly. We try and have a little fun once in a while, and if you're not too careful, you might just learn something by the time we're through here. We come to you from Wenatchee, Washington, the apple capital of the world and the buckle of the power belt of the great Northwest, where it is cloudy and winter is about to set in as we record this. Snow is on the way and in the forecast, we understand. We're doing this just before Thanksgiving, and as you're probably going to hear this after Thanksgiving, I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, all right? Does that kind of cover all the bases? Yeah. We've got a couple of interesting things on our docket today, one of them being a new report from Bank of America dealing with happy homeowners and how homeowners believe that owning a home has changed them for the better. There's a new report out from Bank of America. They've done a survey about this type of thing, and we'll talk about that in a little while in our second segment. We're going to start off, though, with something maybe a little more important, particularly if you are of, pardon my phrasing here, a certain age. We're going to talk about Medicare and open enrollment. It started in mid-October. It ends in early December, and if this pertains to you, there are things you need to know about this. What are those things? Well, we talked about them with Seema Verma, who is administrators for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and she talks about everything you need to know about Medicare's open enrollment period. Where are you, Ms. Verma?
I'm in Washington, D.C. this morning.
That's home base for you, isn't it?
Well, I actually live in Indiana, and I just commute back and forth, so...
I hope not.
Westerner.
I hope not every day.
Every week.
Oh my gosh!
I want to make sure I'm not in the swamp.
Yeah, there you go. I understand that. Here we are. Speaking of kind of a swamp, but not really. It's open enrollment season here, and that goes on for just a little bit longer, doesn't it?
That's exactly it. Open enrollment goes through December 7th.
December 7th. Well, so what do people need to know about this? What do they need to do?
Well, open enrollment does end on December 7th, and this is an opportunity for people to shop around for their Medicare Advantage plan or their prescription drug plan or their Part D plan. You know, the great thing this year is because of the President's leadership and commitment to the Medicare program. He's made it very clear that he wants us to protect the program and to deliver a better program for seniors. And because of that, the great news is we've lowered premiums. And premiums are at an all-time low, 13-year low, and they are lower by, on average, about 28%. In your state, that's actually almost 13% that premiums have gone down in just 1 year. So it's an incredible opportunity for people to shop around, get a great deal. The President's been very focused on drug pricing, and because of that, our Part D premiums are also lower. And so on average, we're seeing that they're 13% lower. That is a 7-year low. So it's an incredible opportunity for our seniors to shop around, get a plan. Because of the President's leadership, we're also offering better selection of benefits. So what the President said is let's give the plans more flexibility to offer benefits that are going to keep people healthy out of the hospital. So there's just a brand new array of new benefits, vision, dental, a ramp to let you go up and down the stairs, a ride to the doctor's offices. The President just made it very clear that he wants our plans to have more flexibility.
Ms. Verma, who is eligible for this? Who can participate?
Any of our Medicare participants can enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan or a Part D plan. So really anybody in the Medicare program can participate in this.
Why is open enrollment important for these people?
Well, open enrollment is the time that you can select your plan, and you have until December 7th, and then you essentially have that plan for the whole year. So this is the only time of year that you can select a plan.
Okay. And so how do they go about doing this, and what are some of the selections open to them?
So a couple of places that people can go for help. They can call our 1-800-Medicare line. They can go to our website on Medicare.gov. Another great piece of news is that we have a new plan finder tool, and so we've made it easier for our seniors to shop around for the best deal. So they can compare prices, they can compare benefits, they can make sure their doctor is in the plan that they pick. So that's on Medicare.gov. And if people prefer, more in-person help, they can call our 1-800 number, and we can direct them to local resources. There are people on the ground that can help them enroll in a program.
Okay, so they go to the website. What happens? How does this process work?
Well, they can type in, where they live. They can, look for plans according to the doctors, and they can essentially set those search criteria. So what we say to individuals is, I think the doctor selection is important. A lot of people want to make sure that the doctor they're seeing that they can continue to see. For prescription drug coverage, one of the neat things you can do this year is if you set up an account, it'll automatically pre-populate all the medications that you're taking. So you can shop around according to the drugs that you're actually taking, and it'll tell you which plans cover those drugs and what the costs will be. You can also see if your pharmacy is going to be in that plan as well. So it's really up to the individual to make a choice that works for them. So they've got to determine what factors are important to them. Some people may decide they want to look at the supplemental benefits that President Trump is offering this year. So they may look at whether vision is being offered, whether hearing aids are being offered. So it's very individualized. And I think this is our ongoing commitment to putting patients first and putting them in charge of their health care, allowing them to make decisions that are going to work best for them, not the government.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the other part of this. There is a deadline of December 7th. What happens if people, Medicaid patients and participants, what if they miss that deadline? What happens then?
Unfortunately, this is the deadline, so this is the opportunity. If they miss it, they're enrolled in their fee-for-service plan, but they have to make this deadline. That's why we're encouraging this year at Thanksgiving, encouraging caregivers. I know I'm going to be talking to my family about open enrollment. It's a great time to, help somebody that's on the Medicare program go through the process.
So if they miss that deadline, do they then are they, pardon the term, are they stuck with what they've got, what they have already enrolled for, or if they're not enrolled, they're not eligible until the next open enrollment period next year?
That's correct. That's exactly it. And there are some exceptions. If people have some extenuating circumstances, we're always, willing to be flexible, but generally this is the deadline. Is
there some local help? If people want to get some, you mentioned in-person help or over the phone. If they want to talk to somebody in their communities, is that possible as well?
Absolutely. And just call our 1-800 number and we can direct you to some of those local resources as well. There's a lot of agents and brokers out there that are also willing to help with this, but we have some volunteers as well. So just call our 1-800 number, go online to Medicare.gov, and there's lots of resources to support people through this process. Medicare.gov,
and the 800 number again is?
1-800-MEDICARE.
Medicare, Medicare. Yeah. Anything we have missed, Ms. Verma?
Just a reminder, that's December 7th that open enrollment does end, and it's an incredible opportunity this year because prices are lower, there's more choices, and there are more supplemental benefits, so a lot to look forward to this year.
Good deal. Great. Seema Verma, I thank you for some time out. Best to you in D.C. and in Indiana.
Thank you very much.
Seema Verma there, the administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And if you want to know more, again, the website is Medicare.gov, Medicare.gov. Conversation Collage continues on the place where you enjoy your podcasts. We're on just about every podcast platform that I'm aware of, and maybe a few that I'm not. So if you are on one of those, congratulations for finding it and for finding us. Like us on Instagram, would you please? Also check us out on Facebook. Both of those are available at Conversation Collage Podcasts. And like us on Facebook and Instagram, okay? We'd appreciate that. If you listen to us on the Apple iTunes platform, would you please be so kind, if you like our program here to give us a rating and even a review. We'd really appreciate that, okay? And also tell your friends that we're here, would you? Send them an email. Send us an email, too. You can do that, too. You can send us through our Facebook page and things like that. We would love to hear from you, find out what you think about our little endeavor here. Let's move on and talk about home ownership. There's a new survey out in the 2019 Fall Homebuyer Insights Report that confirms probably what you expected, that owning a home makes Americans happier. And how so? And what are the other things that they like? What are the other things that people like about buying a home and owning a home? Well, we talked about all this with Kathy Cummings, who is the Senior Vice President of Home Ownership Solutions and Affordable Housing Programs at Bank of America.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Where are you today?
In sunny Charlotte, North Carolina.
Home of Bank of America. Let's get into this. The 2019 Fall Homebuyer Insights Report. It sounds self-explanatory, but what was Bank of America looking to find out?
Yeah, so we go out with a survey every year, and what we're trying to find out is what motivates people, what they're thinking. We figure if we can understand what their thoughts and motives are, then we can help support them in their journey to home ownership. So 93% of people who bought a home are recording that they are happier because of it. And I would say that I happen to be one of those, so I can't disagree with that.
Why do you think homeowners are happier owning a home?
I think a lot of it has to do with realizing that they're making an investment in their financial future and wealth creation. And then I think also just the pride of home ownership, being able to do those things and that you like to do from a hobby perspective. So 82% of homeowners reported satisfaction with the amount of time that they spend on their hobbies. So like landscaping, gardening, cooking, baking, grilling, interior design and remodeling, because HGTV has convinced everyone that they can remodel their own home. So everyone wants to take a crack at it.
Right. Does home ownership actually change a person? Does it change their lifestyle? Does it influence and make one's lifestyle evolve somehow?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I was sharing this with someone earlier that when I have two children, one's in Chicago and he rents an apartment, and I have a daughter who bought a co-op up in Brooklyn last year. She refers to her co-op as a home, which is essentially an apartment, but she calls it a home, whereas my son calls it an apartment. So it's that sense of home ownership. It's that pride of home ownership. It's being part of the community and really caring about what goes on around you. One of the things that I often refer to is, when you're driving mom's car, you might not take as good a care of it as you do when you actually invest your own money in your own car. So really making sure that you've got that sense of pride and the community as well as your own home.
Now, buying a home is most likely the most important and most priciest investment or expenditure that we'll have in our entire lives, and it can be an intimidating process. So for somebody who's a first-time home buyer, like I would be if I were to buy a home, how do you start? How do you get started?
Well, you really educate yourself. That's the most important thing. And don't feel like you have to do it alone, because I know you're going to never believe this, but the internet is full of lies.
No,
so
really?
Don't believe everything you read.
No.
Don't believe everything you read. You don't have to put 20% down. There are products that allow you to put as little as 3% down. But build your team of trusted advisors. So that would include your lending officer, who's going to be able to help you find a comfortable mortgage. Now, don't trust the most that you can afford. Don't use that number, because you're going to be house poor and miserable. But also, make sure that you understand any products and programs that might be available to you based upon your current financial situation. Also find a realtor who is going to be a buyer's realtor, meaning they represent you only and not the seller. So they're going to give you the best unbiased advice. And then finally, if you need help with your credit, or if you want to explore additional information on home ownership, you can go to HUD.gov